Hi, I'm Alex Rawnsley, and this is a Broadcaster Hub video demonstration using Microsoft Excel to import stats from the internet in a way that is easy to manage, easy to format, easy to maintain, but also a way that you can automatically or on demand refresh the information and have it automatically imported into Excel for you and get the latest information off the internet for your team or league. Now, for this demonstration, we're using Microsoft Excel 2007. Older versions of Excel and those on a Mac, this may or may not work for you. We've had mixed results with people using older versions of Microsoft Excel as well as using Excel on a Mac. If you have some success using this tutorial or find some workarounds, please comment in the areas down below. Otherwise, this version of Excel and newer versions will definitely work for this technique. So we're using Excel 2007. We're dealing with stats. We need some stats. So let's go down here, and we pulled up the playoff statistics for the 2013 Fred Page Cup champions, the Surrey Eagles in the British Columbia Hockey League. And we've got their playoff stats right here. So they played 17 games en route to clinching the title. And everyone at some point or another has done this. They've gone through and they've highlighted all the stats in a table. They've gone copy and they've brought it into Excel and they've gone paste. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this method. It gets the information into Excel. The problem, though, is that it takes a long time, in my opinion, to format the information. It takes a long time to get it looking and get it presented how you can use it effectively when you're live on air. The font sizes are different. You've got different colors. You've got links on some players and not others. You've got a lot of mess that you've got to clean up. And there's nothing wrong with this information. It works very, very well. But in terms of being able to effectively use it on the air, it needs some work. And that is the big thing that we're going to try and do with this technique here today, is eliminate some of that work. So we're going to undo that, and we've got a blank canvas here on our Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Before we continue on with Excel, the one thing we're going to do here on the internet is we are going to take the web address from this page, and that will identify to Excel that this is the page that we want to take the information from. So we'll go back to Excel, and up the top here you can see that you've got the data tab up the top on this ribbon up the top. So we're going to click data, and you can see there's a whole host of options. One of them is get external data from the web, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So you can click on that, and it brings up this web browser interface, I suppose, within Microsoft Excel. And what we want to do is we want to replace the address up the top with the address that we copied from the page that we want to take the stats from, and you'll hit go. And it's going to start to load up that website. If you get some of these error messages here asking you if you will allow the content or if you continue running scripts on a page, I suggest saying yes if you trust the website it's coming from. If it's a league site or something like that, you should be able to trust it. So, I mean, these are relating to things like Flash ads, some JavaScript, things like that. If you trust the website, you should be fine in terms of being able to trust those things and say yes. If you don't, this method may or may not be for you. So we've got the website loaded here. Looks pretty much the same than the one that we opened up in our web browser, with one minor addition, and that is these yellow arrows here on the side, and you see that it's there for every table that is on this page, as well as some of the ads on the side. And you see that it's next to both the goalie stats as well as the skater stats up the top here. Now, the skaters are what we'll deal with in this demonstration. You can do both at once, do the goalies and the stats, and your site may vary in terms of the layout of how the stats are presented online. For this one, Esports Desk and the BCHL, this is how they do it, and you can do them both at once. You just click on the arrow and it changes to the green check mark, as you can see there. You can do them both at once. I find that, or have found that in my experience, as being problematic. It is tough, especially when teams change the roster size. They perhaps trade a couple of players away and only get one back, or vice versa. It can confuse Excel a little bit. So I found it best just to do one at a time, so that's what we'll do here. So we've selected by clicking on the yellow arrow, turns into a green check mark. We've selected the skaters, and we're going to click import. And it'll go to work. It'll say, where do you want to put the information? And we'll say, okay, put it in A1, the very first cell in this worksheet. And it's going to go to work. And it's going to download the information from that website and place it conveniently here on our roster sheet or in our Excel spreadsheet. Now, the beautiful thing about this is we copied and pasted earlier, and it displayed all the same information just in a bit of a different way. And with a little bit of work and a little bit of time, we would have been able to achieve this identical look here of just plain text in a row, in columns, nice, clean statistics ready to print. The benefit of this method over the copy and paste method not only is the quickness that it gets into Excel in this type of format, but also the ability to refresh up the top here. Now, these stats aren't going to change. They're from an end of a playoff run by the Surrey Eagles in 2013. However, if this were mid-season, obviously after each game, the stats would change. And to simulate that, we're going to go through and change a couple of these numbers now. And I know they don't necessarily add up, but it gives you an idea of things that we can change and things that we can edit. So let's say that we made those changes and those numbers are there. And I mean, kind of just think in your mind that this is kind of game after game where the numbers change and this information is in there. So we've made all these changes. This also works great if you accidentally delete areas. Let's say you delete a couple of names and you're like, oh, I can't remember that person's name. It was an accidental delete. Even if I were to save this document the way it is right now with some missing numbers here in the middle, some missing names over on the left-hand side, even if I were to save this document, the next step that we're about to do would salvage all this information. So you can completely make a mistake. You can completely erase some sections of this. And if you go up the top here to refresh, click the little refresh recycle button. If you click that, we'll notice that it'll process and the stats will get pulled from the website and it will get refreshed. It'll get updated. It's going to that link that we specified before, and it's pulling the information from that place that we chose by selecting the yellow arrow. So it works fantastic. Now, here's a way to automate this automated process even further. If we go up the top and we click on connections, and it shows that we have one connection. That's the connection that we have with the player stats, the skaters from the Surrey Eagles. We'll select that because it's the only one there and go into properties. I would suggest giving your connections a name as you build them. That is because once you get into a situation where you have 5, 6, 7 connections, if they're not labeled correctly, it can be really tough to determine exactly what is speaking to what table. And if you want to make changes to how often they refresh or any of the preferences, then it can be very difficult to do. So name them off the bat. That's a tip. It's not essential. It's just a tip through experience. And then down the middle here, you can refresh every so minutes, however many minutes you want if you have the document open. I've never found a use for that, but it's definitely something that could be handy if you do like to do that. The one that I've used, though, is refresh data when opening the file. So we're going to select that. And we're going to hit OK and close. And basically what that does is it will hit that refresh button for you every time you open this file. So you could save and close, shut down your computer, go away for 2 weeks, come back, and it would open up and automatically refresh this information. So let's say, just for a demonstration's sake, that the data was that when you left it, come back 2 weeks later, file, open this document, it would hit the refresh upon opening, and it would automatically fill in that information. So that is a brief tutorial on pulling data from the internet. It will consistently update, and if you save it in this way, you'll be able to just open the document and it will automatically go ahead and pull all the latest information for you from that website. If you have any comments on this video demonstration, feel free to leave them down below. If you have some better methods, some other methods to achieve something like this, let us know and we'll create a video demonstration to share for everybody. My name's Alex Rawnsley, and this is a video demonstration for the Broadcaster Hub.